When I opened my eyes, there were 6 firefighters in my living room. It made me feel bad for Shashin. What she meant to say, she couldn't say. Pacino has had a lot of parts since his big break in 1971. When The Godfather came out, Wickley became a cult favorite and made its actors famous all over the world. But even though the movie did well, things were tense behind the scenes. Even more so between Pacino and Brando, 2 of the movie's biggest stars. Last year, Pacino finally talked about what really happened between him and Brando. He also talked about his rough youth. Since The Godfather, which came out in 1971 and became his big break, Pacino has become one of the best actors of all time. Alfredo James Pacino was born on April 25, 1940, in New York City. He grew up in the South Bronx, which has some rough neighborhoods. His life wasn't easy, but he had strong women in it. The people who raised him, his mother, aunt, grandmother, and grandfather, were very important to him. The early years of Pacino's life were hard. His grandma was the most important person in the house, followed by his mother. He owed a lot to the time in his life and the family that raised him, because his mother had him when he was young. His family didn't push him to become an actor, but Pacino said they also never told him not to. Instead, they quietly let him follow his dreams because they understood how much he loved them. Before he became a Hollywood legend, it was there that he first became interested in theater. They met in a pub in New York City when he was 17 years old, not in a classroom. That was a big turning point in his life. That chance meeting turned into a good relationship, and Lawton became one of his most important teachers over time. Pacino later joined Lee Strasberg's famous actor's studio in 1967 to improve his acting skills. There, he learned a lot about method acting. He kept making a name for himself in the theater world by acting in shows all over New York and Boston. Does the Tiger Wear a Necktie? His first show on Broadway in 1969 won him a Tony Award and set the stage for his rapid rise to fame. Pacino said that Charlie Lawton, Lee Strasberg, and Martin Bregman were the 3 people who helped shape his success. He said that Lawton was his best friend and mentor, but he also said that Strasberg and Bregman had an effect on his job in Hollywood. Bregman, who later became Pacino's manager and produced a number of his movies, helped him get his first major movie part in the 1971 movie Panic and Needle. Pacino played a heroin addict in a raw, memorable performance that changed the course of his career. That movie was the start of a career in Hollywood that would soon change the business for good. This was the part that made him famous. In 1972, Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather gave Al Pacino his big break when he played Michael Corleone. He was nominated for his first Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for this role, but he decided not to go to the ceremony. In an interview with the New York Times in 2022, he made it clear that his silence wasn't meant as a protest. At the time, he said that he was more of a wild person. He played Michael Corleone again in The Godfather part, I 1974, and The Godfather part, I 1990, which cemented his place in Hollywood history even more. But while the first movie was being made in 1971, a crush was growing. A woman named Diane Keaton told people that she liked Al Pacino. Eventually, this crush turned into a relationship, and Keaton remembered how smitten she was with Pacino, calling him charming, funny, and a talker all the time. Something about him, she said, made her feel like a lost child. It was a mix of intelligence and crazy, and of course, she thought he was absolutely beautiful. And Pacino didn't want to get married, so the union ended in the end. Pacino's career took off after The Godfather. In 1973, he played the lead role in Serpico, which earned him another Oscar nod and a Golden Globe. In 1975, for Dog Day Afternoon, he was nominated for another Oscar. He stayed dedicated to the stage even as his film career took off. And in 1977, for the basic training of Pavlo Hummel, he won his second Tony Award. He played Tony Montana in Scarface in 1983, which is one of his most famous parts. After that, he played Detective Frank Keller in Sea of Love, 1989, which also stars Ellen Barkin. In the 1990 movie Dick Tracy, directed by Warren Beatty, he played the bad guy Caprice. This role won him another Oscar nomination. In that movie, he played a blind man in New York City over Thanksgiving who goes on an exciting journey. He also won his second Golden Globe for the part. He kept getting awards over the years, winning Golden Globes for Angels in America, 2004, and You Don't Know Jack, 2011, in 2001, the Cecil B. DeMille Award was given to him for his outstanding accomplishments to the entertainment industry. Looking for Richard, a hybrid documentary about Shakespeare's Richard, that came out in 1996, was Pacino's first movie as a director. Winona Ryder, Alec Baldwin, Kevin Spacey, Kevin Kline, James Earl Jones, and Vanessa Redgrave were just a few of the famous people who were in the movie. He started dating actress Beverly D'Angelo in the 1990s, even though she was still married at the time. Her ex-husband, on the other hand, told her to go after Pacino. They had twins, Anton and Olivia, in 2001, after meeting for a few years. Their relationship ended soon after the babies were born, but D'Angelo later said that becoming a mother was the best thing Pacino ever gave her. While Pacino's personal life was taking strange turns, his career was shaped by meetings with giants, with Marlon Brando being the most important. Pacino wasn't happy when Francis Ford Coppola demanded that they eat together to play a real father and son. He had a lot of respect for Brando, maybe too much. The famous actor wasn't just a friend to him, he was a dream. It was scary to think about sitting down next to the best living actor of their time, and Pacino said he would have rather not been there at all. Also said that he had grown up looking up to stars like Brando and celebrities like Clark Gable and Cary Grant. He thought these stars were from a time when fame still had a mysterious air about it. He didn't feel like a TV star or influencer like he does when he thought about sitting across from such a legend. It was clear that the lunch was not like any other. The scene did not happen on set, at a diner or catering table. Instead, it happened while Brando was lying in a hospital bed and Pacino was lying next to him. Coppola had set up for them to have lunch at an empty hospital where Michael Corleone was visiting his sick father for a scene they were shooting. Brando began the talk by asking Pacino some basic questions about his past. They talked about where he was from and how long he had been playing. But Pacino had trouble paying attention because Brando was eating chicken cacciatore with his bare hands. Pacino remembered that after his co-stars got red sauce on their hands and faces, that was all he could think about. Brando was making more and more of a mess, and he couldn't help but wonder what would happen to the chicken that was only half eaten. Would Brando tell him to get rid of it? But before Brando could figure it out, the extra chicken was gone without him even having to get up. as if to ask him in silence what was going through his thoughts. Brando gave Pacino a look that seemed to challenge him, but all Pacino could think about was what Brando was going to do with his hands that were covered in sauce. Should he give him a serviette? He wasn't able to do anything before Brando shocked him by spreading red sauce all over the white hospital sheets with his hands, while they kept talking as if nothing had happened. Pacino was shocked. He was taught to be nice and grateful as a child. Seeing someone, especially Brando, make such a mess with such ease totally changed the way he thought movie stars behave. He thought to himself that maybe someone could do anything once they were that famous. After lunch, Brando looked Pacino wasn't sure how he had reacted when he looked back. He thought he had said thank you at the very least. He now wishes he had asked Brando to explain, though. What did he really mean when he said all right? Why didn't Al Pacino show up to 973 Oscars? When The Godfather came out in 1972, it was a big hit with both critics and audiences, and it was a clear favorite to win the Academy Award the next year. The movie was not only a gem, but it also made a lot of money at the box office, making $1 million a day on a budget of only $6 million. It was reported that The Godfather had been nominated for 11 Oscars. It won 11 awards, including Best Picture for Albert S. Ruddy, Best Actor in a Leading Role for Marlon Brando, and Best Adapted Screenplay for Francis Ford Coppola and Mario Puzo. These votes turned into wins, which cemented the film's reputation. But the acting divisions caused a lot of debate.